Hello, welcome to the Craig's Motel. My name's Conan. In today's video, we're going to continue the Akai MPC 101 videos. Today, we're going to be looking at the different options you have for chopping in the MPC standalone. Let's jump in. Okay, so as I've said in past 101 videos, this is the basics. And hopefully it'll be very, very helpful to new people using the MPC. But I do actually have quite a few advanced users message me and say, actually, I didn't know that, or, oh, I didn't realize you could do it like that. So hopefully, even if you are an advanced user, there will be some things in this video for you. Now, feel free to go back and check out the other 101 videos. I've put them all in a playlist, so you can check those out in turn or however you want to. And going forward, I'll just keep adding 101 videos every couple of weeks. So as I said, chopping today, we are in the sample edit window. I've got a very, very simple drum beat. I've done that on purpose because it's just easier to demonstrate chopping. So in the sample edit, you will find yourself in the trim window initially, but you go into the chop window here. Simple as that. Four different options, four basic options for chopping up: manual, threshold, regions, and BPM. And I'm going to go through each one of those in turn. We'll start with the classic, which is manual. And you literally just hit the pad where you want to chop it. As soon as you hit the first pad, the beat will start. So you have to be ready. So there you go. I've got 8 chops. They're not totally accurate. I'm not going to go into the details of trimming, changing where the slices are. That's going to be in a different video. I'm also not going to go into when you convert it into a drum program either. This is just about chopping this video because I want to break these 101 videos up into little bite-sized chunks. I myself personally find that if you have too much information at once, you start forgetting things. So I thought if I did this in little chunks, then people can watch one video, moving on. You get the picture. So that's the simple manual way of doing it. Now, there are other ways of doing it manually as well. If I just hold shift here, I can clear everything. I want to make sure that the cue is back to the start again. We don't actually have to do that. So with cue selected here, I can choose where I want to put a slice. So for instance, if I want to put a slice there, I can hit slice plus. Want to put a slice there, I can hit slice plus. So on, you get the picture. So you can put them wherever you like. Just drop them in. Oops, missed that one. There you go. Da, 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 da. Shift, clear all. We'll get rid of those again. Let's go back to the start again. So that's what you can do with manual. And it's really, really simple. Don't forget, if you press shift, you can take away slices and you can clear all slices. So if you make a mess up, it's very, very easy. Also remember, if you're doing manual slices by the plus and you want to have one right at the start, make sure you put one right at the start. Then you go to the next one. And there you go, it puts it on 2. So let's clear that again. So that's your manual chopping, basically. Very, very easy. The next one is threshold. Now these just make things much, much easier and much, much quicker if you want to do it this way. And you know, initially, I've got to be honest, when I first started using the newer MPCs, I was kind of like, must be manual, must always do it manual. Because I kind of felt like threshold, regions and BPM was cheating a little bit. But it's actually not really at all. It just makes things a lot easier. You can still go in and adjust things exactly how you want to change, because the thing is about threshold, regions and BPMs, they're not always 100% accurate. So you're probably going to have to do some work anyway. So with threshold, it basically, by setting the threshold, it's going to choose where your slices are with regards to the transients, the loud peaks in your signal. So set at 65, you can see that it's picked up the kick, the snare, the kick, the snare. But if you lower the threshold, you're going to start picking up the little ghost kick. Then you're going to start picking up hi-hats. And you can keep going down. And there we go, at 56 there. This is obviously going to be different for every sample. But at 56, you can see that it's basically picked up every single transient. And it's pretty accurate. You might have to adjust it very, very slightly. So that's a really, really quick way of chopping up beats. It doesn't work so well on full musical samples because you've obviously got the transients are not as set in place as they are if you're just chopping up drums. But it's a really, really quick way. I tell you, when I do use this is when I sample in a whole drum machine. So I'll just hit sample and I'll say I've got a 909. I'll hit the kick, the snare, the hats, the claps, the toms, etc., all in one sample. And then I'll just hit threshold and it'll chop it up for me. And there you go, drum kit done. So that's a really, really easy and quick way to chop up drums especially very, very quickly. So let's just clear those again. And now we'll go into regions. Now what regions does is it chops the sample up into equal regions. Here you can see I've got 8. I can change that to however many. Generally, if you're working in 4/4 beats, you're going to want it in multiples of 4. So either 4, 8, 16, 32. If you go all the way to 32, you'll see it split that right up. Really, really good. And obviously that will also depend on how long your sample is. Because my sample is 2 bars, a 4 is only going to cut it up into half bars, basically. So regions really only tends to work in bars that have been chopped up properly. Although that isn't strictly true, because with a little bit of fiddling around and a little bit of mathematics, if you've got 5 beats to the bar or you've got 6 beats, you can still chop it up. You know, if it was 6 beats, if I chop that up, at the moment that's 8 beats because it's 2 bars, 4/4, right? Just quick theory here for you. But if it was 6 beats to the bar with 6 regions and it was cut exactly to those 6 beats, that would now cut that up correctly. It's not correct now because it's only 4 beats. But you see what I'm saying, yeah? So that's regions. Again, very, very simple, but regions does tend to not be massively accurate because live drummers didn't play exactly in time. They'd have a bit of groove, they'd have a bit of swing, they'd be late on one, early on another. So regions will cut it up equally. So quite often you will need to chop things up, move the slices around, which I'll show in another video. But if you're working with music that's been quantized, so you're chopping up a hip hop track or you're chopping up a trap or house especially, for instance, then regions is going to work a lot better. It's going to work the same kind of way that things like Ableton Serato does when it chops up its regions equally. And it's going to be on the beat pretty much because it's already been quantized. But if it's not quantized, regions doesn't work so well. But like I said, you can still adjust. You can just do a quick 8 there, and then I can go in and I can adjust each one of my slices as I please by using this here. But I'll show that in another video. So let's clear those. And then finally, BPM. Now BPM similar to regions in that it only really works if you have got the correct BPM, which I've shown in another video how to do that. And that's why I actually did that video, to show you how to set the BPM in your sample so that if you wanted to chop up using BPM, you're going to get much better results. But it's based on the BPM, setting how many bars. I've got 2 bars here, 4 beats. Now, if I wanted to put that to 8, it's going to chop it up that way into 16s. Bearing in mind that it's 2 bars. So using your brain and a bit of mathematics, you can work it out. So BPM and regions, again, they're not completely accurate because if the drums are live, they're not going to be sitting exactly on the 1, the 2, the 3 and the 4. But again, it is a quick way to chop things up. Now, just as a little bonus, let's say that you're in threshold, regions or BPM. Let's do regions, for instance. Okay. So we're in regions and like I said, it's cut it up equally. Now I've got that. Then let's say I've got it chopped up into 8 regions there, but I want to add some little extra slices. You can actually do that easily enough by using the cue here. I could put in another slice there. You see, it's going to go straight into manual. I could put another slice there, but it's kept the initial slices that I did in BPM. Same again in, say, threshold. Let's just drop that back a little bit so that it's not cutting everything. Let's say we had on that one, and I'm thinking, well, I still want to grab some of those hi-hats. So again, make sure the cue's in the right place. And I can just add a slice there. And there's another one there. So don't feel as if you choose manual or threshold or regions of BPM that you're stuck with that. With the automated ones like threshold, regions of BPM, you can still add manual chops really, really easily. So there you have it, the 101 on chopping in the MPC. Now, honestly, I cannot emphasize enough how much easier it is chopping in a modern MPC compared to an SP1200 or an MPC 60. The tools that we have now, I mean, you can skip this part if you want. Going to tell you a little war story. But back in the day, as they say, you know, early 90s, I would maybe chop up 32 bars of a track. If I was doing like a re-edit or something, I would want to do that. Sometimes it could be 64. So I'd have to do 64 individual chops on the MPC 60 or 3000 that I was using around about that time, but a bit later, actually, mid-90s, 3000. And it could take me hours. Now I can literally do that in seconds. So don't at any point underestimate how amazing these new MPCs are and how much easier, how easier the workflow can be and how much quicker the workflow can be. So, you know, they get knocked sometimes, the modern MPCs. I still don't know why personally, but some people like to have a little poke at them for some reason. Don't underestimate how amazing they are. So thanks for watching. This is the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.